the new pedagogies of deeper learning, also known as NPDL. It was an adventure, a journey that actually we started last academic school year. So this is my second year at Golden Plains Unified School District. I am the Academic Services Director. So I work for Mr. Martín Macias, who you probably see quite often as he walks the classrooms. He is the superintendent. And our journey through this 2 years was, how do we make this district a model district? So some of the collaborations that we've been able to be part of, one of them that happens to be the class you're sitting in now. So the class that you're sitting in now, also, how many of you are taking art with Miss Beatriz? A couple people, okay? The art class. So there was a couple classes that weren't being offered at Tranquility High School that actually we wanted to be able to bring back. So what that is, we also wanted to improve the education for what it looked like at the K-8 feeder schools. So what occurred is, as we came into this district 2 years ago, is we need to be able to bring these courses to the high school and expand on that. And we also need to work on our K-8s so that we could actually feed into those schools. So the new pedagogies of deeper learning came about through an invite from this gentleman by the name of Dr. Kenji Hakuda. Dr. Kenji Hakuda works for Stanford University. He's a big-time professor there with language and linguistics, and he's involved with some huge organizations that are actually working worldwide. So Golden Plains is one of the few districts in California and actually the nation that's actually privileged to be part of the new pedagogies of deeper learning. When we say pedagogy, teachers go to school to learn how to teach to students. And so whenever you hear pedagogy, for those that may get into the teaching field, it's how do we teach students? How do we teach students? So every teacher has a different pedagogy, but based off that, we do learn basically strategies, and we learn our content to be able to teach students. Now, you probably have some of your favorite teachers who you love going to their class. That means their pedagogy also matches their content. Does that make sense? And then you probably have some other teachers that maybe you're not as engaged, and their pedagogy is trying to match their content as well, as they try to improve their craft. So when we say pedagogy, we mean how do we teach students? So the new pedagogies of deeper learning actually took part in countries that start off in Canada, some European countries, South America, and Australia. And Dr. Michael Fullen, who's kind of known throughout the world about bringing engaging education that starts in the primary grades, that's K to 3rd, intermediate, 4 through 6, middle school, and high school. And so think about this, is he talks about how do you take your normal project, like your, for example, 4th grade mission project. How do you take that and really expand on it to even be more engaging? So what the new pedagogies of deeper learning say, how do we take the technology, how do we take projects, project-based learning, and how do we bring it to life to make it engaging so kids even at the K-8s are doing science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, and then bringing in the arts. So when this presented itself says, how do we then improve the programs for students at the high school, is how do we also improve them for the K-8s? So wouldn't it be phenomenal that if this type of class were available for the middle school students at the different sites, so that you can really get a foundation there, so that when you get to high school, you even build upon that to even go further. So the ideas of new pedagogies is to take projects and go beyond. Here's an example. The project centered about studying the drought. So the technology teacher took the students out there just to go interview the community. It got so bad that they didn't have any water whatsoever. Porterville, thank you. Porterville. It got so bad in Porterville that they actually had to bring water to the town. Water just for simple things, bathing, cooking, and the students at this school that were only less than 10 miles away didn't know that that close of a town did not even have water for the community. So really what the technology person entailed, this is how do we take this further so people are aware, and maybe we can make a difference in this town to actually be able to, at that time, they did not have water. They were actually running out. So what the technology person partnered up with the art teacher and partnered up with the English teacher. And so New Pedagogy of Deeper Learning doesn't just involve this class, but it would entail Mr. Brown working maybe with the art teacher, maybe working with Mr. Castellanos, and actually building the project that way. And so what ended up happening is they actually went out there, interviewed the people, and in the end, they made a very nice promotional video that actually ended up on the news. But they also ended up with painting actually a mural. A mural is kind of like this wall. And I believe it was that wall. It ended up being, I believe, 20 yards long. And the mural was actually stories that the art students had painted that were based on what was recorded. And then they brought in the English teacher and also the science teacher to understand what was happening with the drought. So that project that could have just taken place in one class expanded across 4 teachers. And what it ended up doing is, because those students got involved, then they were able to bring water to the city. How much water? Well, they ended up bringing a couple trailers that actually were just for bathing, because they didn't have anywhere where the kids and the grown-ups and people can go take even a simple shower. So they brought those in. They brought portable showers inside trailers that were set up almost like motorhomes. They brought in big tanks of water. When we talk about the big tanks, they're all like inside this room. You could fit 2 tanks, and each house would get one of those that they actually would put in their front yard, and that's how they would get their water for an entire year, because they had run out of water. So with that new Pedagogies of Deeper Learning, the students realized a couple of things. Is there things happening in our towns, or maybe not so far away, that we can make a huge difference. What's different about the new Pedagogies of Deeper Learning, the way they communicate their work, is through the 6 C's. So they have a structure under the 6 C's that makes the projects just expand. So the first C they talk about is communication.
Communication. Communication is the important or exchanging of information or news. A letter or message containing information or news. The successful conveying or sharing of ideas and feelings. And social contact.
Communication between you guys, but also communication with other students, and maybe communication with other teachers. Collaboration. So
Collaboration, the action of working with someone to produce or create something.
getting a chance to collaborate on a project. Creativity.
Creativity. Creativity is the use of imagination or original ideas, especially in the production of an artistic work.
Creativity is big. So they talk about, okay, giving the creativity to the students and let them just take off with it. So much so that it catches the attention of the community and hopefully catches the attention of the media. Critical thinking.
Critical thinking, the objective analysis and evaluation of an issue in order to form a judgment.
Definitely some critical thinking going on into, okay, what's our project going to do that's going to make a difference? The last 2, character.
Character, the mental and moral qualities distinctive to an individual.
And citizenship.
A good citizen is someone who respects others and their property, is helpful and considerate, willing to put others first, listens to the views of others and thinks about what they have to say, helps people who are not in a position to help themselves, works hard, is well-mannered and pleasant, and is always willing to learn.
Because without those 2 last ones, the character and citizenship, is there has to be something internal for you to say, this project really matters. Your job is to kind of paint that awareness, because we want to be able to change Golden Plains. Our graduation rate went from 83% to 92%. 83% to 92% in 1 year. We're working collaboratively with Mr. Reed and also Mr. Ramirez at Rio del Rey to make sure that more kids graduate each year. We also reduced the amount of chronic absenteeism. That means students being absent over and over and over again. We had a 20% chronic absenteeism. It dropped from 20% to 11%. Our juniors last year who took the state assessment for SBAC, phenomenal for English language arts. Phenomenal. In math, we made improvements, outshined in English language arts. What does that mean? That means the kids who did well in their English language arts, they won't have to take a remedial class when they get to college or university. So the SBAC, pretty much for those people, whether college, university, or vocational school, is kind of your way to say, I don't need to take that remedial class, I go straight into English comp, math, because we really want to change education in Golden Plains. And with your videos, we see that happening. If you walk into the art room, you see it happening. If you go down to Mr. Moss's class and you see that shop class transformed, it's starting to happen. What you may not know is that the K-8s, things are also happening. They want to do robotics. They want to do video that now you guys are exploring here. They want to make school more fun, more engaging. The new pedagogies of deeper learning is not doing your traditional things of English, math, the way it's usually done. But it's really taking that English and math and taking it to the next level. And hopefully that your teachers are also collaborating. That your math teacher may be collaborating with your science teacher on some projects. Some schools that are really doing this end up having their freshman, sophomore, junior. By the time you're a senior, they have their portfolio, but their portfolio looks like a resume. So that when they go to a college, university, or vocational school, or they go to an employer, they could just present their portfolio and it really does look like a resume because of everything they've done over the course of 4 years.